Firstly, let me welcome you to this excellent platform which Refire has created for e-learning or digital learning. This is the way the world is going to be in the next decade or so. And I really appreciate the keenness you have shown in addressing this important topic. I'm told that about 100 participants are there on this call. I'm sure that each one will benefit in your own way, depending on whether you are a student or you are or already experienced person coming into to reskill or hone your skills. I'm sure there is enough for all this category of people. So let me welcome you to this digital learning, and I also like to place on record my appreciation for this very young team of Refire who had been working on this project for the last 3 to 4 years and have really done a very good platform of learning, which is in line with what we are seeing in the country as the emergence of edutech as a leading platform for distribution of education knowledge. So let me also congratulate them for excellent record they have shown so far. And before I get into the program per se, I like to leave a small little caveat for you. Over a period of time, about 3 decades, I've been on this line of work, sitting on the other side of the bench and assessing candidates. One poignant point always came to my mind is many of them or some of them tend to take this as a judgmental call of lives. I think my humble plea is remember, an interview is one incident in your lifetime where you are going to see many interviews. Sometime you will be interviewing candidates, sometime you are being interviewed. So it is very context specific, it is event specific. Don't ever draw a parallel and judge your own self by saying, I'm not good enough for any interviews. And let me be very upfront with you. I've been in this system for about 30 years. I worked in 3 companies, about average 19. I tend to put on long innings with each company, unlike the modern generation. But let me also tell you, technically, I should have attended only 3 interviews, right? Because 3 jobs only I did in 30 years, but I attended 7 interviews. In 4 interviews, I failed. The beauty is, those 4 interviews, I thought I have done well. In these 3 interviews where I was selected, I felt I stand a low chance. This is the fact of life. Therefore, my request to all of you, I think I'm also told there are significant people of significant participants also from the students who are appearing for their final exams and so on and so forth. Especially to them, I like to leave this word. This is an event. Don't get judge yourself and kill yourself with the find answers for this. So that is the second one I just wanted to go. And I also just wanted to suggest to you, I believe since the numbers are very high, I have a small little thought to say, how could we handle this chat box system? To say that, um, because it is humanly impossible for me to look at the chat box and answer to all your questions. And it is not right also because it will not do justice to you, justice to me, and to the program organizers. So what I'm going to do is, wherever possible, I'm going to call out 2 groups. One is the student group, other is the experienced group who are guys who are working in the market, already got a work experience. So when I specifically tell student group, please allow only those kids to answer. And here again, don't clog the box because it is going to consume precious time of us. I'm good enough if 10 or 15 people respond per question. So if we have this norm, probably we'll draw better results out of this 40 to 45 minutes of interaction or 1 hour maximum, so that we have a clear view of what's going to happen for us in the days to come. So this is what I just wanted to know. Is that are you guys okay with this? Can somebody say on the chat box you are comfortable with the thought or otherwise? Okay, one Radhika had said okay, and Ramki says cool. Sripati Raghav is equally delighted. Akash says yes. Thank you very much. So before I get into the program, I want to start on a small story. This is a story which I heard of in one of the forums, which I felt was quite insightful to me at that point in time. This is a story about one massive logistic company in the world, which runs acres of warehouse in US, and almost 100 cargo flights take from that place, and massive factory setup with so many people employed and so on. So a young manager just took charge of it from a good school, and he has been the head of the function for quite some time. And it is around Christmas time, and you see tremendous amount of packages flying just about 2 weeks before, and the factory was working three full shift, complete fleet of big trucks, vehicles, aircrafts, all those things are happening. And one dead of night, one supervisor on the floor calls the GM and tells, "Sir, I think there is some problem in one conveyor belt. There is a mother feed actually. If that guy stops, all of the subsequent feeders or the conveyors in the other floors will come to a grinding halt." I said, "No problem. You call the service engineer and get it right." So a lot of efforts are put. Few hours are gone, and the choke in the traffic has started coming to be seen. And the matter reached the management, and they started calling GM as to say, "What's happening?" So he says, "I'm doing all these things." Finally landed that they even called the original installation people of the conveyor belt and asked them to do the repair. They came in big team and did complete manual reading, everything. Almost 2 days are gone, and they were almost losing about $1 million, around 6 to 7 crore. So the manager was desperate because he knew he wants to prove a point, and he was struggling to do things. So out of frustration, he said, "I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know how to crack this problem. Everybody has tried." So one small little office boy type who has been in the system for 30, 40 years said, "Sir, there is one Mr. Johnson who had just retired about 4 months back. Actually, he was the chief coach of all training related to conveyor belt. Why don't we have a word with him?" Though his ego didn't permit, but others advised you do that. That is the last thing you can try. So Mr. Johnson was called. So Johnson understood the problem. Johnson said, "Send one guy with me." Johnson went around the floor, did some knocks with some spanner here and there, and then went to the master conveyor, and he did some work. He just did some tightening or some loosening or something. He said, "Now go and switch on, your machine will work." Boom. It was stunning success for Johnson, and the machine started rolling. There was joy. Then Johnson left his home, and the next day he sent his bill for about 1 lakh rupees. The manager is furious. What nonsense! He came here, took one spanner, went around the floor, put some hit here and there, and said, "Charging 1 lakh, I don't want to pay. They all asking to come." Then when he came, he said, "Mr. Johnson, what nonsense is this? You went all around the country just to go around and hit something else, and machine started. You are charging me 1 lakh." He said, "No, no, sir, you are wrong. Yes, I gave one knock at some point, started working. It's true. But for that, the charge is only 1 rupee. But to know where the spot lies is the balance 99,000 rupees. So that is the bill, sir." So I hope you get the port of what I'm trying to say. So for a man who has the experience, had the knack of knowing things exactly what could be the issue which others couldn't do. So this is a story. I have a reason for presenting this story. I will just move to the slide. Permit me to do that, please. In the slide, you could see the difference between knowledge and know-how. Knowledge is the acquaintance with the facts and information which you know it that is in your hand. But know-how is the knowledge of how you do things. In other words, that is the know-how. The story which I told you is about a knowledgeable set of people not able to solve the problem, but an ordinary worker come supervisor was able to solve the problem because he had the know-how to do this. So why did I present this story is what I wanted to tell you. All the design which I have made in this program is completely out of my own personal journals I have maintained about various interview situations, various interview experiences, various interview failures of me. How did I judge people wrongly? Where did I miss a good candidate? How did I pick up a bad candidate, etc., etc. So to that extent, what I am trying to present to you, both the student segment as well as the experience, is that it's a blend of knowledge and know-how. That is why I told the story about the conveyor belt. Trust you agree with me. So before I go further, I wanted to uh, just ask you a few small little questions before we go further. I'm just going to flash a few questions. Please answer in the chat box. As you entered the room, it is all regarding interview settings, okay? Nothing outside the syllabus. As you entered the room, you saw through three members in the panel and you sweetly, smartly greeted, "Good morning, sir." Question to you is it good, bad, normal, abnormal, appropriate, inappropriate? Next question. It's very simple. You just say good, bad, or ugly. You sat on the chair and extended your hand to them to introduce yourself. Right or wrong? When replying to a question from one interviewer, the other one got a call and he was speaking over the phone. Seeing this, you paused and stopped before responding. Right, wrong, good, bad. When one of the interviewers asked a question, you looked at him and answered without looking at others. Good, bad, right, wrong. During the interview, the super boss barges into the room to talk to the interviewers on an important office matter. But since you have gone for the interview, you have maintained your stance, you sat there, and you are focused on what you are doing. Let me see the answers. Good, right, wrong, right, wrong, right, wrong. Good. Precisely. So, I don't see one particular answer, right or wrong. There is the whole answering seems to be either right or wrong, good, bad. The point is, this is exactly what I call as the intricate know-hows of doing interview successfully. For example, typically the answer is if somebody barges into the room, which it doesn't happen in good organization, but still it happens, business exigencies. If the boss walks in and he's talking to the panel member, what I would advise you is to stop your conversation, rise up, excuse yourself, "Sir, can I please wait?" There is a right office etiquette, plus it is also an etiquette which is likely to create an impression in the mind of the interviewer. Actually, it happened to me personally by one very young girl who came for a discussion. When my senior boss came in to ask something, it took a while more than that. She just about 20 seconds she took. Then she said, "Sir, I think it's appropriate I wait outside." My more than me, my boss turned out. "Oh, no, girl, sit down, sit down. I'm going now." He walked off. So this is exactly what I'll be sharing similar stories side by side for you to contextualize how an interview setting takes place and what could be your best performance out there. So is that fine with you? Is that flow so far so good, colleagues? Can somebody say a thumbs up or something so that I'm happy about it? Savan likes me. Thank you, Savan. You're always nice to me. Kush is very happy. Ganesh is mightily thrilled. Prem Kumar likes what you said. Lavanya, anybody else? Mahesh saying good going. Ankit is saying thumbs up. Ramki, where to go? Thank you very much, guys. I won't take much of your time. Let me move back to a slide now. So we set the context now of difference between knowledge and know-how, how this program fetches you a blend of both. I would even love to ask you a question. Is there any other trade or profession where knowledge and know-how are mandatory or compulsorily go hand in hand? Any just one Small little quiz for you guys. Can you think of a profession where knowledge as well as expertise, know-how must work together? Any idea? Teaching. Okay. Thank you, Ankit. Anything else? HR profession. Well, thank you very much. I do not know that truly. Okay. Army. Okay. I will. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't bombard the box. Um, how about pilots? I thought for a while. Um, I know it is all electronic and avionics being controlled, but the guy must have a knowledge of basic physics and aerodynamics and all those things. Plus, in the aircraft, he has to operate as well. So I found uh, my offering to you today and also the next 5 sessions which I created, of which I'm going to give an insight as what I'm going to do, is all designed based on real life experiences. To that much, it will be very fresh, very novel to you. I'm sure you would find value in this. Thank you. Before I move further, can I ask you to take a few minutes? Please write down your expectations from this program. I'm sure quite a few of you would have gone through the 2 minutes clipping which I presented as to set the context of what is to come. And before we really get warmed up more into the session, could you let me know what are some of the expectations which I could understand? I will move back to the chat box. Thank you very much. To be a good interviewer, I guess you must be working somewhere to interviewing people. What are your one or two expectations? Take your time. We have all the time. It's important to have some base level inputs. Clear interviews at first attempt. How to deal with the interviewers. Good point. To attend an interview most efficiently and be bold in attending. Very good point. Answer confidently, Mahesh. Thank you. To get a good attitude towards HR. I do not know whether really these guys are there to. I don't know. Accounts and finance and accounts and HR are the function which are always allowed to hate. Huh? So sometimes I realize it's good to be so also. So I don't know that. Dressing sense and actions. Wow, well, I think I would like to solicit a comment on my dressing sense for the day too. Body language, that is excellent. So there, we'll have a full 1 hour session on body language alone. Mind you, it's a very good intersection by you. Sudhir, I really appreciate. Chardeep, to have a good insight of the candidate mindset as well as to be a good candidate myself. 100% you will turn out to be one. Ankit talks about eye contact. Good. Thank you very much. By and large, um, the design elements do address it. And one of the key thing which I also like to submit to the audience is that um, basis the feedback we are going to give every week at the end of the program, I'm also going to add more value, going to tweak something which I don't want to do, something you guys don't want to hear, something you want to know. I will really endeavor my best to make it very relevant and current to you. That is why, in fact, I appreciate this sort of modules where you get instant feedback and you have time to come back with a revised version, as opposed to brick and mortar teaching. You run through the whole class. At the end of it, you ask for a feedback. It's too late. So I will certainly look upon eye contact, have a good insight of the candidate. Good, that's it. Anything else? One last two questions, two answers before I move up. Okay, thank you. Um, maybe um, you would love to know something about me. I have not introduced myself in the classical sense. I neither am going to dwell more about what I did, what I didn't do in the 30 years of corporate life and 6 years of armed force career as a captain in the Indian Army. I would rather tell uh, something which not many of you would know about me. And why I chose this is this: whenever I read about my heroes, I'm a very fond lover of war heroes and war movies and so on. Whenever I used to read about, say, General Rommel or General Slim or General MacArthur, I always want to know what is their background. How did they grow up to become such a iconic leaders in the armed forces? So I am nowhere in that space, but I thought maybe I would share some elements of what I am came with, and you can assess yourself. Do I qualify to be sitting and engaging quite a number of people? So, very important 1 hour. You can take your call. Actually, this is a story of a very rugged boy born in a family of four, lived in a house of 100 square feet at a salary of 150 rupees. Yeah, I am a son of a baby boomer professor in college, somewhere around the late 50s, 58 born I am. And life wasn't so easy and life wasn't so difficult. But unfortunately, a good part was there are not too many things to look forward in life also. So life moved on. I was a graduate. I was both of my father and my sister were teachers. So probably I had the streak of learning in me. So I managed to study reasonably well and went into the adolescent age and went into the college. That's the time I realized I am more of a sports variety, not a bookish guy. So I'm seen more in the college grounds everywhere, and many people said this guy will be a great sportsman for the college permanently because he will never be able to pass exams. So he will be a good asset for the college. Protect this asset. This is what my English professor very hilariously told my father. Sir, your son will be a very good asset. My father was very happy. Oh, thank you. No, no. Only thing is the asset will only stay here because I don't see him coming to the classroom with any book. Always either the hockey stick or tennis racket or with a cricket bat or something. I don't know where is he going to land. And he was right. When I finished my degree, I didn't know where I am landing. I had a 48%. I prayed all the gods near my home. I broke so many coconuts also in between because to get a pass. Because the expectation from my parents were first class student. But I know where I stand and what I did. So I was praying that if I had to get a pass, I'm very happy. I got a degree in BCom, and typically I do all the stupidity of 20, 21 years of age, right? So some good girls here, there, all those nonsense. But one of the best part of my life I learned. So my I had a very miserable love actually, because finally I married the same girl. So it was a failed love but successful marriage, I would say that way. Um, Life moved on. Somehow I got into army out of sheer desperation that I should prove something in the world. So I wrote the Combined Defense Service exam, got through surprisingly very high in the order of merit in the exam. They went to a rigorous army selection process, which ran for 7 days, which is a global model, actually. It is one of the best models of hiring process where you don't miss out anything, any aspect of the person. Um, I did a service in armed force for 6 years. Then I came back to this corporate world. Life wasn't easier. Armed force treats you in a different manner. They look upon you in a different way. The civilian society looks up completely different. So I had my own tribulations and trials. I came out and I did a couple of degrees along, um, managed to hold back and did a steady shipping of my work and life. And in 2016, I moved away from the corporate life and I became 58 years younger. But the beauty is, what I realized was, I'm not from any premier B school degree holder. I didn't have any great godfathers, so as to say. But what I realized is that whatever I am here today talking to you is an outcome of certain strong fundamental value systems and character. Even now, I can swear by them. I am hopefully seen many of my colleagues elsewhere also to be more valued as a human being than as a manager. So I think it is a worthwhile point I wanted to share with the younger audience and emerging leaders like you. Think about this point. Do you want to be a good manager or a good human being first? So in army also they teach you you are a gentleman first, then only you are an officer. I think this is the toss up which I took at some point in time, and it worked well for me. And today, all the bosses, I would have worked with almost 17 to 18 bosses in this 30 years. Everyone is my reference. It anybody I can dial up, talk up, pick up a conversation. That is to me is also a skill which we'll be talking about in the next few sessions when we go as to how we settle down post getting a job in the office. So that is my the next syllabus, not in this 5-part series. That is my thought for the next launch. So this is the background of me. I'm an ordinary guy with certain slightly I won't say extraordinary, some better qualities or something worked for me. So this is what I am. So I'll be very happy to receive your feedback as to how this story was, um, to for you to appeal. I'm waiting for the chat box, at least 4 5 response. Thank you, Sonal. Sonal likes what I said. Good. Prem Kumar likes also. Avas, I don't know that. I couldn't pronounce. Don't worry, you are late. It's never too late. Ranjini likes sir. Great, somebody says. Good. Okay, thank you. So we will not waste much of your time on this. So that is a brief introduction, and now I will take you into what is that we are going to be doing over the next 5 weeks. I think that is what the crux of the whole program is. Thank you, Lavanya, for a kind word of motivating. I'm switching the share screen now. I will now, in the next 6 to 7 slides, I will be on slides only. I'm not going to come back. We'll be talking about that. Maybe if we are giving a feedback, then I'll move back to the chat box and have a look. As I thought about this whole session, what are the objectives that I could achieve in this 1 hour window of time I have with you? One is, as I said, understand your expectation from the full series of Bullseye. Let me explain what is this full series of Bullseye. What we intend to do is, I'm going to have 5 sessions post this, and each session will cover the entire what I call the dynamics of interview, which I talked about in terms of know-how and knowledge. So it will be a blend of both. There will be a certain amount of conceptual landing about types of interviews, types of questions, and so on. And at the same time, we will also dwell deeply into some questions which are interesting. So therefore, understand your expectation from the full series of full Bullseye. This is what we are going to do in the 5-part series, which is going to come all of this. Maybe there may be a small little payment for you guys to make. I leave it to you. As long as you see value, I'm sure people will come in. So I also want to update on an overview of what we shall be covering in the 5 session, and at the end of it, how to become a street smart interviewee. I had come across brilliant interviewers. So one guy, I asked him about what are his hobbies. So he said something like cricket or some game. My eyes glowed immediately. Then I asked him more in that, and we were tuck, one by one, one by one. He got selected. And after a year in one of the company get-togethers, he came and shook hand. I said, "Oh yeah, how are you?" I said, "Fine." So that interview was fine. I forgot. I don't know. Yeah, I know it could have been fine, but I did a trick. He said, "I said what, sir? I know that you are very much fond of shuttle badminton. So when I prepared my questions, I know that there will be a question on my hobbies, and I should lead you into what you like best. How did you like this?" I found this guy is a real street smart interviewee. So such tips and examples of some stunning answers I got is what actually built this program to its best possible shape. And yeah, when I shared about my life, it is established the trust with you actually. So if you go back to my LinkedIn, that will talk only about what did I do professionally for my living, but you do not know the background of the person, right? So it is important to know the humble beginning I had and how I built it despite so many other variables which are good and bad at times. So you can also trust in me. And in fact, after the five session, we intended to lend about 1 month of window for any personal hand holding also, which is also being discussed with Refire team, whether we could also offer such services to them, where people who are desirous to be engaging with me or through the platform for another 1 month, whether we could do some value addition to them is also a one thought. For that, this trust is very important. And yes, of late we are talking about a lot about COVID than about our food and other things. I have my views on COVID. I do not know how many will accept, but it is a very, very stressful time for all of us, whether elderly, younger, male, female, worker, unemployed, companies, SMEs, whomever you take. It is a very trying time, and maintaining the balance at such times is always a tricky, tricky affair. So, in my own little wisdom, I have been doing a few things here and there to manage COVID in myself, and I will also share that with you at some point in time as we go along. But on COVID, let me only one thing I would say is there is a brilliant statement, one proverb in Tamil, or I think it is there in her language mein hai, this too shall pass. I think it is a one hell of a caption which can be very inspiring to people. This too shall pass. That means everything passes through the gate, nothing stops. So does this COVID, right? In 1980 World War, 6 million, 3 million people were killed. This Spanish flu took almost 5 million lives. One bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki vanished 20 lakhs people en masse. You have replete of examples of history which has been distressed a lot, but the human resilience always came back with a double the venom. So don't lose hope on COVID. It is okay. Chalega, aega, jayega. You manage your life. The best thing you can do for COVID is you don't fall trap into this. You maintain yourself well. You are doing a service to your family and members. So nothing more on COVID. That is not the purpose of the discussion, I know. But I must tell you because it is bothering everybody, including me. In fact, that is the reason why I was dilly-dallying on my commitment to Refire also for the last 1.5 months. Will I be able to do this? It's so much soaking at my home, not able to go out. So I feel some of it could be true with you as well. So now, what are those five sessions we are going to talk about? In session one, we will talk about interview and its ecosystems. Before that, I just want to know, um, any feedback so far? How is this going on? I'll just 1 minute. Any feedback as how is it going so far, people? Can somebody make a comment? Does it almost or meeting some of your expectations? Thank you very much. So now I'll move on. I won't wait for all to comment. Okay. In session one, we are going to talk about interview and its ecosystem in organizations. What I mean by ecosystem is how organizations arrive at the type of talent they want and how do they really go about soliciting such talent, and what could you do to be available at that water holes. Very simple. Sometime I've seen recruitment, I've been recruited because I happen to be there. Let me tell you this also. Many people ask me, Captain, despite your modest educational background, how did you grow so much? On two occasions it happened to me. I grew not for my hell of a writing in books and journals or something else. I happened to get upgraded to the next level to the role of my bosses just because I happened to be sitting and doing a great job of mine, whatever I was given to. So this is the point I wanted to draw home when I say what influence interviews outcomes and why interviews outcomes are always fuzzy. Like the way I said, 7 interviews I gave, 4 I thought I did a rocker of a job. I got a regret letter. You are nowhere. 3 I never even bothered to check back. They said, can you come for the next round of interview? Why is it? What's happening in this space is what we will explore. Interview is a multi-point decision process, and it is not a singular uniform decision unless it is a private company where the owner takes a call or the owner's family members take a call. In professional outfits, it's generally a well discussed and informed decision process. So there are multiple stakeholders within the interview itself, and how the stakeholder rivalry can also kill a candidate is what we will see. Types of interview, I think you should be generally familiar. Don't be bothered too much. And when I told you about my story about a candidate knowing my Facebook background of shuttle photographs and all that, stay on this line of, I'll ask you this question. When I told you about the shuttle guy, that guy very cleverly knew what I like, and he said, moment I asked him hobby, he said, I am very good in shuttle. That's it. Next 5 minutes, I was on with him. What is your comment about the interviewer? I've narrated this picture again because that is coming up at the next slide. So I want to communicate with you and see your chat box response. I, as an interviewer, asked this question as to what are your hobbies, and the guy jumped immediately and said, shuttle is the only hobby. I eat, live, die by that only. Then after 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes, I was engaging with serious conversation. What's your view on this as an as an interviewer? I'm saying, can we have some experienced candidates write something on this? There are quite a few experienced guys. What is your comment about the interviewer on this interaction is the question. Guys, are you there? Is that am I audible? Can somebody put a mark on that? Yeah, yeah. Okay, Miss Radhika, can you tell me what do you find in this whole thing? Or anybody can answer. Maybe Amit or Sonal, or I saw some other names also. What do you think about the candidate? Maybe you have got impressed and asked easy questions. Very good. Maybe I'm impressed. Okay, the interviewer got impressed because it was his area of interest. Very good, Mahesh. Then it means that the person was curious about you and found details of you. Very good. I mean, you are meaning the candidate. Okay, good. All right. Thank you. I want to force more answers. Oh, it's coming. It is the first positive spark. The candidate was meticulous and smart. He could have thought of first impression as best impression. Wow. I don't think I should run this program for this audience actually. I'll go back. I asked that question with a specific point in mind called interviewer bias. Technically, I didn't do a good job of that. Incidentally, that guy landed up in some moral issues and asked to leave the company. That is the actual story of that person. But the point is, I carried a unconscious bias towards those people who play the game of shuttle. It's very important for you to understand these biases of the interviewers. Now, there is no need for you to go and find out what Captain Raghuram does or what Miss Radhika does or Mohammed Shafi does or whatever. You go into Facebook. I think right from you feeding your puppy to the neighbor story, everything is in Facebook on real-time basis. So it is very easy for you to find out what tickles this guy. And also, I will cover this under preparation. When that is my 3P technology, which I will talk. It is important for you to know how these biases impact decision making. Next is about your body is one of the fabulous organ to communicate your messages. Unfortunately, we strongly believe we should go to the gyms and build a body without understanding what so many the Eastern technologies have taught us to know about your body and breath. If somebody is good in yoga, will swear and die by it because that seems to be the panacea for many of your emotions and tensions. Therefore, knowing the body organ parts to tell you a different feelings is very important for you, especially when you are attending an interview or preparing for an interview. If you recognize your body signals, it is a good chance that you do a classy job in the interview. I used to be an opening batsman in cricket in my college time. I played a decent level of the game. But Every time I tie my pad and go, remember those days there is nothing called your shin pad, your wrist pad, or helmet, and all that. It's all your head only the target. So if you survive, you are happy. That's it. Even after playing so many matches, when I walk into the ground, I used to have a churn in my stomach as opening bat. There is a fear always if I bloody get out in first ball, I put my team in trouble. It used to be a tremendous pressure on me. I didn't understand those things then, but I did some amount of work around that NLP, neuro linguistic, and all. I found this is relevant, which I'll share. So this is what will happen in session 1. I guess it is appropriate and fine. Okay. I'll ask for a feedback after 2 or 3 slides. In session 2, we will learn about, this is my own concoction, preparation, 3 P's framework. How will I prepare for the interview? Initially, if you look at the structure I'm giving is, know about the interview context. How does it interview fan out in a boardroom or a conference room of a company? You know that. Now, before entering into that, you have to do a series of steps. What are those is what we are going to share with you in session 2. 3 P's framework: prepare, practice, perform. And there are elements covering each of this, which will of great value to you when you sit through this program in all the 4 or 5 classes. Another important point which I observed in my experience as an interviewer is thought structure. You ask a question, there are guys who are bang on, exactly know what you want to hear and talk exactly the way and manner and time and be done. And there are some who take you around the whole country. And finally, no, I don't know where I started, sir. Can you tell me, repeat the question? Many a times we had seen this syndrome happening. Therefore, the thought structure of you in elucidating an answer is very important. For that, there are many tested models. This can be Googled and found out. I don't know how to teach you. This is all there also. Called a STAR model, which talks about situation, task, action, results. And if you practice yourself in answering any question in these 4 questions, it is chances that you do a better response to the questions of the interviewer. What am I to showcase in the interview? You will be worried or I'll be concerned to know what is that overall they're looking at me for. That is the question, the dilemma most commonly, especially when you're younger in career. This is the dilemma you have. Experienced candidates have a different dilemma because they have to explain many things, why they have done, why they are not done. They are not going to be asked, what do you know? So, but here, when you are in the young age years of 4, 5 years of basket, this practice would help you to do a lot of good jobs in the days to come. I'll move on to session 3. I think this is an interesting session for you people. This country is mad after cricket. You know, if given a chance, IPL will even be run now, whether COVID or no COVID. That is a fanatic orientation of the population of India towards cricket. So I use some cricket words. I'm sure even from the attendees, quite a few people are cricket buffs and very keen. Actually, I don't tell others. I grew cricketing almost 20 years. Actually, I don't like it much now. Okay. Here we'll be discussing more about types of questions. What types of questions can I expect? There are varieties I will discuss later. How to respond to questions. You know Dusra, right? And you know Googlies. And there are very innocuous questions I ask. And I get the most dishonest answers. But the candidate feels he has given me a terrific answer for the question. So you think you are done with a simple question. And you feel happy that you answered very well and come out and tell everybody. But the interviewer takes a different cue from your answers. What is that is what we will explore. Your responses to Dusras and Googlies, we will talk about it. Another dilemma most candidates have is, can I ask a question? So now I'll ask this audience, can we ask questions to the panel members? Can we have a chat box response on this? Can we ask questions as candidates who are in desperate need for a job to ask some questions at the end of the interview when they ask you? Ganesh says yes. Sripati Raghav says yes. Can I know why it is important, Sripati or Sonal? Oh, most people say yes, that's very good. But why? Okay, you should understand the role, right? Lovely says no, very good. Why should not ask? Your name is Lovely, right? Yeah, Lovely or yeah. Can you tell why you should not ask questions, Lovely? Can you punch in? Okay, no problem. I think we'll cover it up when you attend the other sessions. Chadeep says, yes, it shows that you are keen on the job and want to contribute, so need more clarity. Very good answers, almost from all of you. I'll switch back now. So this question also keep coming in the people's mind, whether I could ask questions. Uh, uh, we will uh, we will discuss that in detail when we go into the sessions per se. And more importantly, what does a smart interview closure means? How will I close the interview in a smart manner is also equally important. So the way you prepare, the way you enter, the way you address, and the way you close all communicate a set of character traits of you. Remember this. In a way, if you look at you as a product, it is a positioning, right? Positioning is just not about packaging, it's about content, it's about pricing, it's about quality of the features. So your positioning has to be top class. This is what we learn. Session 4, it's all about body language. It's all about body language. Can anybody tell me what is the percentage of the impact your words have on the receiver of your message? Question is, assuming uh, how much percentage of what you say is conveyed through your words? How much percentage of your communication impacts the other in terms of words you speak? Can somebody say some? Mahesh says 100% of the words you speak. Is that what you are saying, Mahesh? Chirdi says 20%. Amit says 50%. Very good. Very good. Good. So you are saying 60% of the words I speak influence the listener. Good. Very good. Then let me tell you, you will be in for a rude shock. Research has proved only 6% of the words you speak has ever had an impact on the listener. How is it? Research tells the words you speak have only 6% impact on the listener. Any response? Surprised? Shocked? Interesting? That's a catch. Therefore, what about the balance 94%? Someone is out completely. Thank you. Sanjay is equally bold. This is not Captain Raghuram's theorem or theory. It is a research done by various leading neurological science practitioners and research analysts as to why can't people do what I say? I think this is a classic question experienced managers always struggled in office. Sir, I have told him hundred of times. I have told him I कितना बार बोलना है उसको पता नहीं मुझे. I don't understand. How many times I have to tell him? He's not able to do it. I used to only ask him, you told him or you communicated to him? No, I told him. I said, there is a difference. When you communicate, you look for confirmation, whether he has understood what I said in the same form, order, and manner. When I tell somebody, I don't care whether you understood or not. I told you and moved on. That's the difference. Therefore, they say the words you speak has the least impact on the decision on the others. This is a universal fact I've seen. I had consciously tried very many stunts in stores and shops and other places. I got very good results of this, good and bad both. So remember this. So this is why I talked about this point. There is a common understanding that if I speak well, I can get a job. I'm sorry, buddies, it is not. If you speak well, maybe I'll give you one more glass of water at best in the interview panel. I'm expecting a more holistic, more consummated performance from the candidates when they come and articulate as to what they have done. Remember this. But almost you can be a dumb. You can be a dumb and still get a job, provided you are strong on the other 93. What are the other 93% is what we will talk about. Virtually, it means that if I, if only 6% of my words make an impact, what about 94%? Then as well be a 6% dumb and 94% active. What is that? That is what we are going to talk in terms of body language, the showstopper. So many times I have been a criminal myself of having taken a view on people on based on their body language or many other aspects which is not relevant for the job. Faculties of body language. What are the manner and form in which the other person picks up signals from us? When I say body language, it is not one a Milan Soman type of a body. My age group or my referral role model is Milan Soman. So it is not one Iron Man type of a body. It talks about many other faculties God had bestowed or endowed us with. Appearance and presence, power of posturing. So how well we communicate is a function of minimal function is of what you the words you speak, but 95% of them are covered by what you convey through your body to the recipient. An important lesson in the interview is this. So that is what session 4. Session 5, I know that we are just taking 5 minutes more than the expected 45 minutes. It's okay. I'll just run around. In session 5, we will talk something about what are the current trending in interview practices going on. Quite a few of you are familiar with this tools called psychometric analytics, psychometric tools. They are not new. They have existed in the world 30, 40 years back, right from Mayers and Big Type, invented in 1950s and 60s, to the latest ones, which is driven based on data analytics and AI and so on and so forth. So we will touch about a few points on latest trends in the interviewing space. And invariably, you are going to be seeing, as I told you, as a digital learner, organizations are getting digital organizations. Already, companies have said 75% permanently in home, TCS. So many, I don't name any company. So many companies are moving to that model. Means you got to be proficient and efficient in handling a bit of technological gadgets around you, and also to create the environment which is conducive for you to perform during such shows. That's what we'll do. And the last one I said about COVID. Forget about COVID. COVID or no COVID, the job stress will always be there on us. Under such conditions, what am I to do to really pull myself up? They are all my own variations. They are not from any research. I may share a few things which I have done in the last 4 years. When I retired also in 2016, my family members are worried how to keep this guy safe at home. He has been going around 30 years all over the place and been very active at home also on calls and laptop. वो क्या करेगा यार मेरा जान खाएगा. This bugger will take my life out. How to manage him was my biggest worry of my close family members who actually plotted something to neutralize me. To that extent, stress can play on you. So we will look at, I will share what it worked for me, and if it makes sense, do it. Otherwise, dump it. Cool. Not an issue. So actually, I have come to the end of this program, and somewhere I got a feedback when I did a test run. Someone wanted some amount of exposure. I'm going to ask you one simple question. I'm flashing the slide in front of you. Tell me something about you. So if this is the question asked in the interview, I know some of you would have seen the answer, don't worry. How would you respond to this? Tell me something about you. I'm sure you should get some response. Can some experienced candidates pitch in? Quite a good response. I'm very happy with Ravanya, Ganesh, and Amit, Rajan. Rajan, I have not seen you anything writing after that. Mohammed is very active. Lavanya is very active. Kush, you have gone silent. Prem has slightly gone silent. Ramki is silent. Jyoti is not active. Come on, guys, respond to my question. If somebody asks you, tell me something about you, how will you start the discussion? We will brief about all our points about us. Good, Lavanya, I really appreciate. Do not say your name. Mahe, you should be short and clear and explain the question, and our should be interesting. Then, good, good. Siradip, number of experienced family members, area of interest, good. Well, I won't take much time. This is what happens when such questions are called your innocuous googlies. Huh? See what happens. Come across the common error, sir. Do you want me to tell personal or professional perspective? Many people have asked me this question, even the experienced one. Tells that clearly they are not prepared for the interview. And they go about repeating everything they are given in the CV, which I would have read it by anyway. So you have wasted your opportunity. Or you start with that and you go on and on and on and on, don't know when to finish it. A better response I given, short, crisp, and interesting. Highlight how you like. Look at what I am looking. When I ask this question, what I am looking at you are the following. How is this guy's flow of narration? Is it short, brief, engaging, and coherent? Does he have a reasonable command over the language? And when I become restless because the story is very boring, is this guy picking up the signal from my body language? Or he goes on and on and on and about? This is what happens. So, like this, I have 10 to 12 sets of questions which we will use as a resource in the discussions in the ensuing sessions, in the appropriate sessions. So, that is what this is a sort of a exposure you are going to have in the following session. They are very practical from the world of practical experiences. So, to that extent, you will be benefited, is all I could say. It is your call. And thank you very much. I virtually done what is the objective of this day I started with. Question and answers and feedback is what the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to switch back to the chat box, and I'm not going to use any more slides on this now. Okay. So your personal, okay, right, Mohammed. I really appreciate. Good. We really appreciate you taking time and joining us. Oh, thank you. I guess you are telling for that me, love and lovely, or you are telling as interview answer. I don't know. Okay, Sonal says, amazing, sir. Thank you, Sonal. So inspiring. What's your feedback? Don't appreciate me. That is my job. It's fine with me. All I need is, did you find it? In which way it is influencing you? In which way it is enabling you? Is the answer I want to know. Guys, I'm waiting for some feedback. Expecting more, sir. This is a great start. Thank you, Mr. Sripati Raghav. That you have to attend the forthcoming session, then you could. It's great, but you have to attend the. Very intriguing. Kush, wow, very happy. You use a nice word, intriguing. Yeah, said something fishy about it. Huh? Good. Sudhir, thanks for motivation, Sudhir. I'm very happy if I was able to inspire you. Okay, I think we will wait for just 2 more messages and then we'll, or I can wait. I have no issues of time. Great session, very useful. Thank you, Ranjani. Ramkrishnan, sir, nice session. Thank you. Okay, yeah, it is always nice to get good accolades and appreciation and plaudits from my people. And so that's it. We virtually come to this end of the session. Interesting, and got to know some useful tips in the introductory session. Ganesh, there are many more to follow. This is what I want to tell you. This is only just a small little curtain riser I did along with Refire. Primarily, the idea is it's a very interesting practical subject. You know, you cannot, like a CAT exam, you cannot be reading books and cracking interviews. Let me tell you this. And I update myself as to what's happening. I do read a lot of case histories on interviews. Therefore, constantly I am also updating myself to stay relevant to the audience. Therefore, the insights what I am sharing, they may have some references in somewhere Google and all that today, but primarily it is what I had gone through in my learning, both as an interviewer, successful interviewer, and also a failed interviewer in many times too. So that is what I wanted to present. It is purely your call. Fruitful session, Sudhir. Thank you. Nice session, Prem Kumar. Is odd. One more Prem Kumar maybe. How can we join the upcoming session? Can we ask the interviewer how I performed? Ah, girl, that is a dangerous question, huh? It is. That is. I like that question because many young candidates have asked me this, and my heart goes out for them because I can understand the anxiety with which they came to get the job is what driven them to ask this question. Um Ideally, not, because most times in organizational interviews, there is a panel which discusses 5 6 candidates together and see from the relative ranking who can be offered now, who can be offered later, and so on. So it's not a good idea at the beginning to ask. You can refrain from doing that. Looking forward to future sessions. This Introverse link can kindle my interest in learning more. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh. Thank you. So we will end with that session. Just remember, I kept on repeating throughout also. Um, so just to quote based on my experience. Yeah, go ahead, Sudhir. I have time. Good session. Acha. Okay, right. So the next 5 session is going to be loaded with similar inputs. And if there is a feedback for a certain things to tweak, I am more than willing to tweak because that is the window I have to really add value to you. So the whole concept is keep the customer in the center. You are my customer and you have a need to be gratified in the marketplace. Can I help and equip you to meet those needs by working with you? That is the fundamental crux of the model. So I'm very happy if it made sense to you. Please, Amazon's interview process is great. Yeah, you're sure, Sripati Raghav, Amazon. That's why I said, no, each organization has their own end objectives of an interview process, right? And there are organizations which believe if I hire somebody, they should never leave the company. There are organizations which work on that syllabus, on that syllable. And there are organizations which also work, it's fine here. After 2 years, that guy become a diminishing return to me. I actually want a refresh every 2 years at certain workforce. There is also organization which live by that philosophy. I truly agree with you. I think they have Amazon's interview process is great. Only thing is, someone told if I apply in 2020, I get a job in 2021. I do not know how far it is true, but nevertheless, people are given a lot of plaudits for Amazon's experience, which I fully appreciate. Okay, I won't take much of your time. Exactly 1 hour since we are on the air. It's been a delightful experience for me. I've been absolutely stunned by the responses. Very insightful, very appreciative, very deep motivating. I would still wish some feedback improvements. मैं क्या और भी कर सकता है? What you expected that I shall do, but not done this time is what I was seeking. Anyway, when the Refire asks for the feedback, please provide. They are one stunning bunch of youngsters who want to really do well in life. And it's so much energetic to me to be in touch with them. So the next 5 sessions, if you really sit through, I could reasonably say it will definitely add value to you. So I won't boast that after that every interview will come with an offer appointment. I told it's not like sometime I told you, I grew just because I was there in the right time in the right place. Period. Nothing more. My boss resigned, and for 4 months they searched for his uh, um, replacement, and I was still senior enough in the system to be respected. But unfortunately, my organization had a different view. Nothing wrong about it, and 4 months, 5 months, 2 3 candidates, very highly qualified from very good B schools. They took the offer. For some strange reason, they dropped out in the nth moment. So 5 months they saw, nothing happened. In that 5 months, I behaved as if I am the head of the function. That is the only difference I made. Nobody gave me the authority. Nobody gave me the power. Nobody put an organization announcement to say Captain Raghuram will substitute Mr. So and so. Nothing. I kept doing what I used to do, but I also did what I learned from my bosses. This 5 months of work without given any authority, I delivered value to my organization. And I got a call from Bombay. Please come, Raghuram. I want to talk to you. I went and met my chief HR. He just gave me a letter in my hand. You are promoted to the same role from where your boss left. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So sometimes recruitment could be a very pleasant accident. It could be an act of God also. So don't get disheartened about interviews, one life-threatening thrill and all that, all that. Who knows, yeah? I mean, if you are rejected, it is good for you. You have a better company next time. That's the way I used to see also, right? The company should also deserve you, huh? Not only you deserve the company. It could be the reverse logic also. So good. So Saban says we have an early bird offer for the next hour at 30% off. Refer is very lucky to get you. Please tell Ayush. I'm just joking, so really. So thank you, Savan. The price and all you can take it up. Thank you. So I am signing off. 1 minute, I'm putting you off camera and oh no, it's okay. So Savan, can I close the session? Ashok. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Stay tuned. Stay alive. Don't get uh, threatened by COVID. Remember the word I said. This too shall pass. The human resilience is far, far, far more capable than anything else. All the best. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.